Hi, welcome to Coding Bootcamp's YouTube channel. Subscribe now and join our live stream session later. See you.
Hey guys, welcome to part 1 of 3 for the Intro to Sysadmin course. So we have 10 tasks for you today. What I want you to do is go ahead and pause this video. Do as much of it as you can on your own. Some of these are dependent on the other tasks, so if you do a couple tasks and then you come into one where you can't do one with the other, go ahead and skip that and just keep doing as much as you can. When you get to a point where you can't do anymore, go ahead and unpause the video and we'll go through it together. Alright guys, hopefully you've been able to do as much as you can on here, if not all of it. Either way, we're going to go over this together and make sure you did it correctly. First task here, we're going to be creating a user and their password. And user is going to be Alex and password is going to be AB123. So let's do that on our machine here. So we're creating a user, or adding a user. So we're going to do user add command. We're going to supply the username, which is going to be Alex. Okay. We're going to change the password for Alex. We're going to use the passwd command or password command for Alex. It's going to be AB123. And notice it's not actually typing anything on the screen. This is a security feature for Linux. Don't worry, you are actually typing something in. And you'll notice a warning message says the password is shorter than 8 characters. We can ignore that. That's just a guideline telling you, hey, the password's a little insecure. It would be better if it was longer. It'll go ahead and let us set the password, though. It's not going to prevent us. And as you see, it says all authentication tokens updated successfully. So we changed that password for Alex. Let's look at the next user we're going to create here, which is going to be Tom with a password of UU544, except we're going to create a custom home directory for Tom. It's going to be /home/directory1. So let's do that. We're going to do user add again, but we're going to do -m for make home directory and -d for directory. We're going to give the custom home directory we want, which is /home/directory_1. And then we need to supply the user account that we're creating as well as for who we're creating this home directory for. So we did two things in one command here. We created a custom home directory for Tom, but we also created the home or the user Tom. Now let's go ahead and change the password for Tom. So passwd Tom. Okay. Remember his password is UU544. UU544. We'll do it again. UU544. All authentication tokens updated successfully. So Tom now has a fully functional password. We'll clear the screen. We'll look at our next user here. So create the below user, Jessica Henderson with password 8899RR. So we want to do a full username. This is a bit of a trick question, guys. So the user add command can't actually do a full username like that. We can't do a one name and then a space and then another name, okay? So what we're going to do, we're going to do first initial and then Henderson. We're going to do -c for comment. We're going to do quotation mark and we're going to put the full name. So what this is doing is it's adding a comment in the file for this user ID and it's giving the full name, okay? So what can happen here is we might actually have two people with the same first name and the same last name, okay? Or we might have two people with the same last name and the same first name initial. It might be confusing because we'll see two user IDs with the same first initial and last name. But we can go to the file and look at the actual comment here and see, okay, these are two different IDs here and this is what the actual full name for it is. So a little bit of a trick question there. We're going to change the password for J. Henderson. And the password for her was 8899RR. Okay. So we'll type that in. 8899RR. Do it again. 8899RR. Perfect. So now we're actually going to check our work for the task number 4 here on the homework. It says use cat command on Etsy folder to learn more about the 3 new users we just created in steps 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Let's clear our screen, get a little bit of space back here. So cat, and hopefully you guys remember it's the Etsy password file, okay, that actually contains all this info. So we'll hit enter. I'm going to scroll the screen up for you a little bit here so you can see it. So we see the 3 there. We see Alex, which was just a regular user add, so Alex, home directory. Tom, and then the custom home directory we did for him, so home/directory1. And so you see Jay Henderson, and we see that comment here, Jessica Henderson, okay? That's where the comment goes in this file. You'll notice the other 2 don't have a comment section because we didn't specify a comment for them, okay? So now we've proved to ourselves that those IDs were added, and it has everything that we wanted to add for them. So let's move on and look. Oops. Sorry about that. Let's move on to the next part of our homework. So we're going to use the cat command to output the contents of shadow file to the Etsy folder. Okay? So we're going to create a new file here. So we're going to do cat/Etsy/shadow. We're going to name it, well, we're going to redirect that to a new file called /3new users. Okay? So what we're doing here is we're taking the output of the /Etsy file, we're redirecting it to the input of this new file. So it's going to throw everything into this new file. Okay? We'll hit enter. Now this file didn't exist before, but since we're specifying the file name and we're throwing contents into it, it's going to go ahead and create that file for us. Just to prove that, we're going to do cat/Etsy/3new-users. And guys, you might be wondering, how does cat know that this is the file? So we're giving the full path here, right? I couldn't just do cat3new-users because we're not in the Etsy directory. But as long as you give a full path for the cat file, we can cat any file from anywhere in the system as long as we give the full path. So we hit cat, and there you go. We see all the shadow file information in this new folder. You'll even see the new users here, like Alex. And you'll notice that the password is encrypted on these guys, okay? Doesn't show it in plain text. Let's clear our screen, get some space back here, and let's go back to our homework. So we're going to get number 6. Let me scroll down a little bit so we see the rest of the homework. So number 6 says, set Alex account expiration date to November 1st, 2020. All right. So let's go back to our VirtualBox. So we're changing the age information on this account, right? So we're going to do change age capital E for expire, and it goes in year, month, day. So we do year, which is 2020, month, which is 11, and day, which is 01. Okay? We have to specify for which account, which is Alex. We'll hit enter, and that's done. So let's look at step number 7 here, which is set password expiration dates to something like September 4th, 2020 for Tom. Now notice this is different than account expiration. We're also going to have to adjust the age data for Tom's password. So this is a little bit of a tricky one, guys. So we are still using change age. We're going to set the max days, and I'm going to do it for 12 because September 4th is 12 days from me, okay? So this number might be different for you guys. You just have to figure out how many days are between now and September 4th. All right. Now I got to supply the account I want to change the max days for, which means the max number of days before we have to change the password. So I'll hit enter. Now we got to do one more thing here. We got to do change age again, -D0 Tom. So what this is doing is it's setting the last day that this password was changed, which will be 0. Okay? Meaning that 0 days ago that this password was changed. Effectively, what this is doing is it's forcing Tom to change his password as soon as he logs in. Okay? So if I were to log in as Tom right now, I would have to change the password, and then 12 days from now, I would have to change it again, meaning on September 4th, I would have to change the password. So that was a bit of a tricky one, guys. You can't actually set a specific date for when the password needs to be changed. So we had to kind of use the system, how it's built a little bit, to actually set it to where it would change on September 4th, all right? Keep in mind, though, that when you change it on September 4th, you're going to have to change it 12 days again after that. So Tom has to change his password now every 12 days from now. Let's look at the next part of the homework, okay, which is number 8 here. And it says run cat on Etsy shadow again to check the changes made in 6 and 7. All right, let's do that. Cat, oops, /Etsy /shadow. All right, let me move the screen up here. We're going to look at Tom and Alex. So Tom, you'll see here, has max days is 12, so he has to change the password in 12 days. And we also see 0 for the day since his last password's been changed. Okay. Now Jay Henderson here, we see the weird number here. This is an odd number, and that's actually for when the account's supposed to expire. Okay. There is an easier way to look at this though. I'm going to show you that now, and it's actually using that change age command again. Except what we do is we do change age -L for list, and we supply the account name, Tom. And you'll see here it says password must be changed for all these, and it changes max days is 12. Alright? Let's do the same thing, except let's do it for Alex. And there you go. You see that Alex account is set to expire on November 1st, 2020. So that's a little bit easier, cleaner way to view that info. It's change age -L on the account you want to look at. Let's look at the next part of the homework here, which says run command to lock Jessica's account and then unlock it. And then run cat before and after to see the difference. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's do cat /Etsy /shadow. And let's make it easy on ourselves. Let's do a pipe grep Jay Henderson. Okay, so remember grep will look for that specific word or phrase in the Etsy shadow file. So we hit enter, and there you go. So we see this file. Okay, we see your password. We see the password age configurations there. Okay, let's go ahead and unlock her or lock her account. There's 2 ways we can do this. We can use the password command. We can use the user mod command. I'm going to use user mod. That makes a little bit more sense to me, so we'll do user mod.
Thanks for watching. Feel free to add your questions as comments down below.
Okay, -L and Jay Henderson. Okay, now let's run that cat /Etsy /shadow grep Jay Henderson again. And can you guys catch the difference here? It's pretty small and it's hard to see, but oops. You guys see that little exclamation point there? That means her account is locked. Notice that isn't up here before we did it. Okay, so that little exclamation point means Jay Henderson's locked. So how do we unlock her? We'll do user mod again. Can you guys guess the flag we're going to use? It's going to be capital U for unlock and Jay Henderson. And let's run cat /Etsy /shadow again. And grep that, pipe grep to Jay Henderson. And you'll notice the exclamation point is gone. So Jay Henderson's good to go. Her account's unlocked. She's free to use the system again. All right, number 9, it's just simply asking, what is the command for adding a user with the non-default shell? So how do we add a user without the custom shell? Okay, so how we do that is we are going to use the user add command, just like we've been doing. User add. Okay. We're going to give it the username. So we could do Jay Henderson. Well, we've already created her. Let's make up another name. Let's just say test. Okay. Now, if we want to give them a specific shell other than the normal one, we can do -S for shell, and you would supply the shell. So in this case, I could do like sbin /no shell. Okay. Or no login. Sorry, not no shell, but no login. And we're setting a different shell than what is the default shell. So that -S is how we set a specific shell for the user. Remember, the shell is what we see here, this command line. Now, if I were to actually type in this command and we create the user test, and they actually would not be able to have a command line interface here because I'm giving them a no login shell, a non-interactive one. Okay, so tests can log in, they just can't do anything. They just can't interact with the system. This is typically reserved for like daemon processes and system users. Okay, they can't like type commands in, but they do still need to access the shell. Okay, so that's how we do that one. I'm not going to hit enter because we don't want to create a user without a shell. That's how you do that one. That's how you do number 9 on the homework, that -S option. Now it says number 10, repeat step 7, and instead of setting password to expire on September 4th, let's set it to expire every 90 days. Okay. So we're going to do a change age again. Okay. -M for max number of days before the password has to be changed. We'll do 90, and we're doing it for Tom because in step 7 we did it for Tom. Let's go ahead and prove that that is different. So we'll do change age -L for Tom to list the expiration dates. And there you see there that the max number of days between password change is 90. Okay. So congratulations, guys. You finished part 1 of your homework. As always, if these concepts are still a little bit tough for you to understand, go back to those PowerPoints and look at those links for the private tutoring sessions for Linux. There are monthly and weekly plans available. That's going to help you guys so much to cement these ideas in your head to get that one-on-one attention that you need. So thanks for joining me on part 1 here, and looking forward to seeing you guys in part 2. Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of 3 for the Intro to Sysadmin course homework. It's very important that you complete part 1 before doing this, guys, because things we created in part 1 are being used in part 2 here. What I want you to do is go through as much of this as you can without any help from me. Keep in mind some of these are task dependent on other tasks, so if you get to those parts, can't do them, go ahead and skip them, move on, do as much as you can. Once you get to a point where you feel like you're stuck or you're done, go ahead and unpause the video and we're going to go through this together. Alright guys, let's go ahead and go through this together. Whether you did it all on your own or you need some help, we're going to go through this step by step. So first part here is create 3 directories, project 1, 2, and 3 on the home folder. Okay, let's go to our virtual box. Yeah, let me get that pulled up. Oops, let me clear my screen here. Well, oops, why isn't this? There we go. Actually, let me make sure everything's cleaned up here. There we go. Okay. So we're going to make directory, right? We're creating a directory. So make directory, and luckily, with this make directory command, I can supply as many directories as I want, as long as they are separated by spaces. So we're doing make directory project 1, 2, 3. We'll hit enter. Now we're going to do an ls and perfect. There we see those 3 directories: project 1, project 2, and project 3. Okay? So let's go back to our homework here. We're going to look at that next part. Okay. So it says create 3 groups: designers, developers, and managers all. Okay. Unfortunately, with the group add command, we can only do it one at a time, which is kind of a bummer. But that's okay. It still won't take too long to do it. So let's go to our virtual box here. So we're adding a group, guys. So we're going to do the group add command. We're going to start with designers. And then we're going to do another group add. And do developers. And the last one's going to be group add. We're going to do managers all. Perfect. Now to prove that those groups were created, we're going to go to the etc groups file, cat etc groups file. Oop, there's no S. So we'll do that without an S. We look at the very bottom. Perfect. We have designers, developers, and managers. Great. So now we know that those were created successfully. Clear my screen. Let's go back to our homework. Let's look at the next step here, which says, actually, let's name that let's rename that managers all group to just managers. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're modifying a group here, group mod dash n for name. Okay, so we're changing the name here, we're modifying the name. Okay, we're going to give the new name, which is managers, and then the original name, which was managers all. Okay, well, let's prove that that was actually changed by going back to that Etsy group file. Okay, look at the bottom here, and yep, sure enough, it's now named just managers. Perfect. So let's look at the next step on our homework, which is assign group permissions to create files within their assigned directories as below. Okay, well, we can't give a directory two different group owners, right? But we need to set permissions for these guys. So what do? Well, this is when we would use an access control list, okay? So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to set some access control list permissions. So we'll do set facl command -m for modify. Then we'll do G for group. And we'll start with designers, because project 1 should have both designers and managers. We can only do one at a time though, so we're going to do designers. Then we want to set the permissions here. Now it wants us to be able to create files in that directory, okay? And if we're creating files, we should probably be able to read the files in the directory. And in order to get into the directory, we need execute permissions, okay? So we're going to give them all three permissions. Read, write, execute. We're going to do project 1. Okay. Hit enter. Perfect. Now we're going to do that command again. Set facl-m for modify. Group. This time, oops, lowercase g. Make sure you use lowercase g. This time, we're going to do it for managers. And again, we're going to do read, write, execute. Projects 1. Okay. Nope, no S, sorry. Projects 1. Project 1. Okay. Now let's look at the next one here. So that was for project 1. Now we're looking at project 2. We need to add developers and managers. Okay, all right. So set facl-m group developers. Same permissions, read, write, execute. We're going to do it for project 2. And we're going to do that again. Set facl-m for modify. Group, managers. Same permissions, read, write, execute. And project 2. Oops, I need to spell it correctly, huh? There we go. So I misspelled managers a couple times there. That's why I was getting angry. There you go. So I had to spell it correctly. And let's look at the last part of that one there, which says project 3, just managers. Okay. So set facl-m for modify, group, managers, read, write, execute, and project 3. Perfect. I'll clear my screen, get some space back here. Alright, so now it says run the command to test step 4 is done correctly. Okay. So we want to get the permissions back and see what the the ACL command was. So we'll do get facl. We'll do it for project 1. You can see there we have the group designers and managers with read, write, and execute permissions. Perfect. Let's do that again, except for project 2. And again, you see developers and managers has permissions, read, write, execute. Perfect. Let me clear my screen. We're going to do it one more time, except for project 3. And again, we see just managers here. Perfect. Managers has read, write, and execute. That's what we wanted. So that'll complete step 4 for our homework. Let's look at step 5, and let me actually scroll down here. We can see the rest of the tasks here. So step 5 says, run the command that step 4 is done successfully. So we just did that, okay? So step 6 says, now let's add the proper users to each group as below. Okay, so we're going to add Jay Henderson to designers, Tom to developers, and Alex to managers. Okay, all right. So we're going to be modifying some accounts here to add them to groups, right? So what command do we have to use? Well, we're modifying user accounts, so we're using the user mod command. We're going to do -A-G. So we're appending a primary group -G for a certain user. Okay? So we want to add a primary group to this user account. So we got to put the group, which is designers. We're doing that for Jennifer, so we do J Henderson. That's the first one. Now we're doing user mod again. -A for append, -G. We're doing developers for Tom. Okay, we're doing it one more time. User mod -A-G managers Alex. Okay, so guys, the reason we do append is because we actually want to put this group on top of any other existing groups for these three. All right, if we would have just done group without the append, it would have wiped out all groups and only put this as the main group. So you always want to do append. Unless you want it to be the only group, then you don't do append. Okay, but just to prove that that actually is successful, we can run the groups command on each one of these people. And there you go. You see we have two groups for Jay Henderson. We have the Jay Henderson group and designers. And we can do the same thing for Tom, as well as Alex. So groups just lists all groups for the associated ID that you give it. All right. So we see those groups are all signed out. That's perfect. That's what we wanted. So let's look at the next part here, which says, now do the same thing as above in the previous steps, except assign.
If you have enjoyed watching this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.
Assign user permissions to create files in the directories as below. So on project 1, we want Jay Henderson and Alex to have certain permissions on project 1. So we want to be able to create files in the directories. Same with project 2, we want Tom and Alex. Project 3, we want only Alex. Okay. So again, we're doing the ACL command here. Same as before, except this time we're going to be doing it for users. So we do set facl-m for modify. This time we do u for user, colon. Okay. And on project 1, we wanted to add Jessica or Jay Henderson as well as Alex. Okay, so we do Jay Henderson, read, write, and execute, because if they're going to be modifying files in there, they're going to need to read it, and they're also going to be able to have to execute on the directory you get access. So read, write, and execute. Project 1. Okay, we'll do it again. Set facl-m user colon. This time Alex, read, write, and execute. Project 2. Okay. We're going to do it again. Set facl-m user. Okay. Actually, let's move over to our homework real quick to see the next person we're using. So we're doing project 2, Tom and Alex. Okay. So Tom, read, write, and execute. Project 2. Okay. Actually, guys, I messed up a little bit. You see up here, I accidentally put Alex on project 2 already. So we're going to go back and set facl-m user. That was a typo on my part. Alex, read, write, and execute. And we're also going to give Alex project 1, just like it says. Okay. All right. And my typo actually worked out in my favor, because Alex should be also part of project 2 there. Okay, so we see we have Jay Henderson in project 1, Alex, Alex in project 1, and we see we have Tom project 2 and Alex project 2. Okay, Let's look at the last part of that in our homework. Last part of number 7, which is just add Alex to project 3. Okay. So set facl -m for modify user Alex rewrite and execute permissions in project 3. There we go. Now we can do the get facl command just as before on those, just to make sure that they're set up correctly. And now we see we have user Alex J. Henderson and group designer and managers. Okay. We can do get facl on project 2. And now we see users Alex and Tom and groups developers and managers with the following permissions. Okay. And we'll do the last one, project 3. Okay. And we see just user Alex and group managers can access this project file 3 with the following permissions. Okay. So that's perfect, guys. That's exactly what we wanted. So let's look at number 8 here. Change Jessica's password to Apple Tree. Easy enough. We should know how to do this by now. So pass WD. And Jessica, of course, is the J. Henderson ID. We're going to Apple Tree. Type it one more time, Apple Tree. There you go. All authentication tokens updated successfully. So we've changed Jessica's password. Last one, number 10. Run the command to test to see Tom, or run the command. Sorry, number 9 here. Change Tom's user to Tommy. Okay, number 9. So to do that, okay. So we're changing Tom to Tommy. All right. So to do that, we're modifying his user account, right? So we're going to do user mod -L. We're going to give the original name, Tommy, and change it to Tom. Okay, hit enter. Now it says, well, let's go back to our homework, but basically it's going to have us test to make sure that that actually works. Okay, so number 10, run the command to test to see Tom name is successfully changed. Okay. So again, we're going to make this easier on ourselves. That will be shown in the cat etc password file. Right? So we'll do cat/etc/passwd. We're going to pipe that to grep, and we're going to see it as Tommy. We're going to see, okay, did he change it to Tommy? Yep, sure enough, Tommy. Perfect. Username was changed. So that's it for number 2, guys. Good work. Proud of you. If you still need some extra help, make sure to go to those links listed at the end of the PowerPoints. We do have private tutoring sessions available. We have monthly and weekly plans. I highly recommend those if you really want to get some more foundational grasp on what we're talking about a little bit quicker and a little bit better. Okay, guys? Thanks for joining me. Looking forward to seeing you in the last and final Part 3 homework for Intro to Sysadmin. What's up, guys? Welcome to the last and final homework assignment for Intro to Sysadmin course. This is Part 3. Again, guys, this is the last one, so you have to make sure that you did Parts 1 and 2 in order to do this last part, as this part is dependent on those last 2 parts, okay? So again, do as much as you can, run through it. There are some things that are dependent on the others, so if you get to those parts, just skip and go to the next part. Once you get to a stopping point and you can't do anymore, or you finish the whole thing by yourself, unpause the video and we'll go through it together. Alright, guys, let's go ahead and take a run at this last homework assignment here. So the first command is, or first task here is run a command to list detailed info about all users in the system. And hint kind of gives it away. Pretty good hint, because the hint is the answer, is use ls logins. So let's see what that command does. Let me log in. So do ls logins. And wow, gives us a lot of info about logins for people, all right? So we're going to scroll up a little bit and actually see what each, what each column here means. So we see we have the user ID, the username, proc, pwd lock, pwd deny, last login date, and geckos, which is the full username, okay? So if we scroll down, we can see here, we have Jay Henderson, hasn't logged in yet. We see her full name though, Jessica Henderson. Tommy hasn't logged in, Alex hasn't logged in. K Downs, which is me, full name, and it does actually show a login time, okay? So it shows 11:54 is the last time I logged in, okay? Let's go ahead and clear our screen here. Get some space back. Let's look at the next part of the homework, which states, run a command to display detailed info about the Alex account, okay? And just see the last login and last terminal parts, okay? So we can actually, if we go back to our machine here, we can actually run an ls logins, and we can specify just a specific user just by putting in the username. ls logins Alex, and we get a lot of info here, right? Running processes, password change, expiration warrant interval, group ID, login, no login, it's shell. We use all sorts of stuff here in this ls logins for Alex. All right, we get a lot of info running that command. Okay. Number 3, run commands to display specific information about designers and managers group. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to make this easy on ourselves again. We can see the info about those groups in the etc group file. So we're going to do a cat etc/group pipe designers. Oop. We're going to do grep designers. And we see, okay, we have the group designers, no password set. Okay, we have the group ID, and then we have all the users that belong to that group. We're going to do the same thing. Cat/etc/group space pipe space grep. And this time the homework said run it for the managers group. So that's what we're going to do. We'll see some more info about the managers group. And there you go. Managers group, no password set, group ID, and everyone that belongs to that managers group there, okay? Heading back to our homework. Number 4. Run command to display information about password expiration for all user accounts, okay? And hopefully by now you guys are super familiar with this file. That's actually going to be the etc password file, so /etc, or /shadow file. Remember, the shadow file is the one that actually displays expiration info about passwords. So if we scroll down here and actually look at the users, we can see user Tommy here, like we set in the last homework assignment, 90 days expiration. Jay Henderson actually has the max amount of time for password expiry. Same with Alex, and even same with me. Okay, so we haven't changed any of the password expiration dates on these guys, okay? So by default, it's just going to be 999999, alright? So that shadow file actually shows password expiration dates. The etc password file does not. So let's go back to our homework here. We're looking at number 5. It says run commands to change permissions of the below folders. So project 1, we only want to make readable for users and groups, and we want to do this using the read, write, and execute letters, okay? So there's a little bit of refresher here. So to change permissions, we do chmod, change modification, and it said only readable by users and groups, okay? So to do that, we're going to do a user plus or equals read. So we just want user to be readable, okay? And it said project 1. Okay, so we hit enter. We'll do that again. So it said groups needs to have readable, project 1. Okay, and we're going to take away everything for other. So other minus or take away read, write, execute, project 1. Oops, I mistakenly put there. Okay, so now let's do an LL. Let's check that out. So project 1 here, we have read, write, execute for user. Oops, highlighted the wrong one. We have read for user, read for group, and nothing forever. And then we do see this little plus sign here. Remember, that's because we have an access control list set for it. All right, clear my screen. Let's look at that next one there for project 2. And for project 2, it says only writable by group. Users have no permissions. Okay, and this one we can actually use the numeric form, which is much easier, guys. That's a better way to do it if you're going to be setting permissions for multiple different ones. So we're going to do chmod. It says only writable by group. So nothing for users, 0. Write, okay, which can be W, or number 2, so it's just write, and nothing for other. Okay, we're going to do that on project 2. Student LL. Okay, project 2 here. And there we go. User, nothing. So first 3 slots is user, which is nothing. Second 3 slots is group, so we have nothing for read. We do have write activated, nothing for other. Nothing, no execute, so it's just write for other. And then on other, the last 3 here, we have 0. No permissions written for other here. Nothing set. So only thing that's set is write for group. Okay. So we'll clear my screen. Let's go back to the homework. So we're going to look at the next one here. It says in below steps 6, 7, 8, we're creating a group. We're going to manage it via user who will become its administrator, right? So we're going to create a group administrator called finance and add Alex user to it and set its password to moon1255. All right. So we've got a couple different things going on there. So first thing we got to do is we got to add the group. All right. So we're going to do group. Add. It's called finance. Okay. The second thing we got to do is we got to add Alex, the user Alex to it. Okay. So user mod -A, because Alex already has groups with him, right? So we just want to add another group to him. We're going to do a $G. This is going to make it a secondary group, not a primary. Lowercase g would be primary group. Capital G would be a secondary group. Okay. We want to add the finance group.
Thanks for watching. Please like and share this video.
To Alex. So it would be finance. We put the group first and then Alex. There we go. All right. And the last part of that was to set the password to moon12255. We know how to set passwords for users. How do we do it for a group? Well, it's not as complicated as you think. It's actually just G for group and then password. That's the command for changing your group password. Okay, and then we have to specify the group, which is finance. And it's moon, M-O-O-N, 1255. I'll type it again, M-O-O-N 1255. Okay. Now this time you notice it doesn't actually say all tokens updated successfully, okay? But it doesn't come back with an error, so we know it set the password for it, alright? So a little different than the passwd command. Okay. And guys, I do want to point out here real quick, you're really never going to set a password for a group. That's a very rare case where you'll do that. That is another way to kind of set up permissions, so to say, for a user. So let's say you do have a password set for a group. A user, if they knew the password, could type in the password for that group and get permissions for that group temporarily. So kind of another way to add permissions, but it's not a great way. So you won't do that too often, if ever, guys. I just want to point that out. But you do want to be aware of how to do it, okay? So number 7 here says check gshadow and group text files on Etsy folder to see if step 6 is done successfully. So let's go ahead and check that out. So we're going to check the Etsy group folder, and we're going to do a pipe grep finance to see if that finance group is created. Yep, sure enough, and Alex is part of that group. Perfect. So we're going to do a cat Etsy gshadow now. So remember, the shadow file shows passwords for users. So gshadow, I'm going to show passwords for groups. Again, we're going to do a pipe grep finance, just so we don't have to sift through the whole file. It'll just show us the finance line. I have to spell it right, though. And there you go. see we have finance, the encrypted password, and then the user Alex associated with it. Perfect. So we did step 6 correctly. Let's go to our homework again. So step 8 says change finance group password to sun2abc. Alright, so we're going to change that password again. We didn't like it apparently. So G password finance. It says changing the password, alright? We are changing it to sun22abc. sun22abc. Type in it again, sun22abc. Oops. Okay, sun22abc. sun22abc. There we go. Alright. Fat fingered it again. Mistyped it. I'm not very good at typing passwords, huh? I mistyped them a lot. Good thing it actually forces you to type in the same password each time. Otherwise, I would have a lot of mismatched passwords. But anyways, we typed that password in. We got it changed. So now we're going to add Jessica to finance group. Okay, well, we know how to do that, luckily. So user mod -a, append. Remember, Jessica has other groups. We don't want to wipe out our group, so we're going to add her to another group. So we're going to do capital G. So we're going to add this as a supplementary group, finance J Henderson. Okay. So remember, A is append, capital G is a secondary group. So we're adding additional groups to Jessica one. All right. And just to look at all her groups now, remember we can run a groups command and we can specify which user, and it's going to show all the groups that person belongs to. So Jessica now belongs to Jessica Henderson group, designers group, and finance group. Perfect. I'm going to clear my screen. I'm going to go back to our homework. Now we're going to look at number 10, which is delete the Alex account. Okay? So we're deleting a user. So we'll do user del command -r Alex. So with this -r, that's deleting everything associated with Alex, okay? Home directory, everything. This is the best way to actually get rid of a user. If I didn't do that -r, some things would actually still be left over for the user Alex. So we'll hit that, and there we go. Alex is deleted, okay? Now step 10 here is just going to verify our work. It's going to say run the command to test Alex account is deleted. Hint, you may need to remove groups associated with Alex too. In this case, we didn't have to. It didn't yell at us saying, hey, you know, there's some groups associated with Alex. It went ahead and just deleted that user. So we're going to do cat etc passwd, because remember, that's where user info is stored. It's in the passwd file. We're going to make it easy on ourselves. We're going to do grep Alex. Now, if we successfully deleted him, nothing should come back, right? Because he doesn't exist. So grep won't find anything. So it won't bring anything back for us. So we'll hit enter. Perfect. Nothing came back. We know Alex is deleted, all right? We can even be double sure and be extra safe and just look at the whole file manually just to make sure it's not there. We'll go all the way down. Okay, I see Jay Henderson. I see Tommy. All right, yep. I don't see Alex, so we know we're good. All right? So guys, that's it. Congratulations. You finished all the homework assignments for Intro to Sysadmin class. I hope you were able to get some good hands-on experience and learn some of those commands we went over in the PowerPoints. Definitely, definitely, definitely follow those links at the end of the PowerPoints and do some of that one-on-one hands-on Linux tutoring. Okay, there are weekly and monthly sessions available. Those are going to help cement and really get those ideas stuck in your head and make them stay there permanently to get some of that hands-on help with some of these concepts. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. I look forward to seeing you in some of these other courses that we have available.